Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to show you how to draft a basic skirt pattern with underbutt shaping and adding of ease allowance for sitting down. So I have my pattern paper here already. I've gone ahead to divide it into two. I'll be using this first part for the front pattern, and the other side that is not really showing on the screen will be the back pattern. The measurement you're going to be needing for this is your waist roundness, your hip line, your hip roundness, the underbutt point, the above knee point, and the full skirt length. So I'm going to go ahead and place my tape rule horizontally on the pattern paper at the edge and mark my measurements all the way through. So I'm going to start with the hip line, the above knee point, and the full skirt length. So note that the top of this pattern paper represents the waistline, so my waist measurements will be taken at that point. The skirt length I'm working with is a calf length skirt, but this technique can work for any skirt length you want to do this for. So I'm going to go ahead and take all of this at the edge of the paper here. Then I'll also take the same measurements at this midline and the other edge of the paper so that I can get a straight line at all points. After marking this out, I'll go ahead and rule a straight line connecting all of the points that I have marked. The next thing I'm going to do is take all of the round measurements, which is the waist divided by 4 and the hip divided by 4. So this part here is the waistline, like I said earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and take my waist measurements and divide it by 4. The waist measurement I'm working with is 36. 36 divided by 4 will give me 9. But I have to add dart allowance. The standard dart allowance to take on the skirt is 1 inch dart, but I usually use 1.5 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1.5 inch to my waist measurement and mark that point. Then I'll come to the hip line and divide what I have by 4. The hip I'm working with is 47, so hip 47 divided by 4 will give me 11.75, so that's almost 12 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark that. So guys, that is all I'm going to be taking. I'm going to go ahead and connect this. Whatever I have at the hip line is what I'm going to take all the way down, but I'm still going to go ahead and shaping this later. But for now, I'm going to take my hip measurements at the above knee point and also take my hip measurements at the full skirt length, and then use a ruler to connect all of these points. So if you want to do a skirt that's straight from the hip down, this is exactly how you're going to leave your skirt. But if you want it to be a pencil skirt, you have to shapen this out. But before we get to that, I'm going to go ahead and take the same measurement I took on the front pattern at the back pattern as well. So sorry that you guys can't see the way I'm placing my tape, but I adjusted my camera later, and when I'm drafting the back pattern, you guys are going to be able to see what I'm doing. It's the same thing I did for the front pattern that I am doing for the back pattern. I placed the tape rule at the edge of the paper, and I took the waist measurements, the hip measurements, and just copy what I have at the hip to the above knee and the full skirt length, and I'm just using my ruler to connect everything. So I'm just showing you guys here that I already added my dart allowance to the waist measurement here, the dart allowance of 1.5 inch, and I'm just connecting all of the points together. After all of that, the next thing to do is to shapen the skirt. I'm going to come here. What you can do is to measure your client's above knee roundness. That is going to give a more accurate measurements, but of course make sure that there is ease for moving the knees and for sitting down if you are going to do that. But if you want to shape this, you can use 1 inch if you don't want it to be too fitted. But if you want it to be very fitted, you start from 2 inches and above. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to use 2.2. I'm not using 2.5 inch on the dots, just 2.2. Let me just make it 2.5 because I want this to be a very fitted skirt. So I'm going to mark 2.5 inch, and then I'm also going to come and mark 2.5 inches and the actual skirt length. So what I'm going to do is to then connect it using my straight ruler to connect. But when I'm connecting it, I won't connect from the hip point direct. I'll come down by, say, 1/2 inch. This is to prevent the hip area from being too sharp. And then I'll just shaping this. Can you guys see how this place is smooth? So this is a hack if you do not have your hip curve. I actually have my hip curve here that I can use and draw my skirt, but I don't like using the hip curve, maybe because I don't really know how to use it though. Oh my gosh. So then I'm going to now connect from here straight down. So you can connect from here straight down like this, but what I'm going to do is that from here I will mark another 1/2 inch because this is below the knee. The drum length I'm working with is below the knee, so I want it to be more pencil as it's going down, is getting more fitted. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it this way. So like this, I'm going to have a pencil skirt. Okay, you can even still take it in some more, but I'm okay with this. So this is all, this is everything for the front. Okay, so to take in the darts, let me show you guys how to take in the darts. You're going to need your bust span measurements. You're going to mark your bust span at the waistline, and then also come and mark it at the hip line and draw a straight line. So some people usually say the dart should be 4 inches long or 3 inches long, but I've come to notice that whenever I take in the dart like that, there's like a form of bulky space around the belly pouch area. So what I usually do is I connect this dart straight to the hip, and since I started doing that, the dress is having more fitting, the skirt is having more fitting as compared to when I use like a 3-inch dart or a 4-inch dart. So another alternative, if you don't want it to reach the hip, is to come up by 2 inches. But I personally make my dart very long to reach the hip line, but it should never ever go past the hip line. So I'm just going to connect it this way. So this is the front. Okay, this is everything for the front pattern. So guys, this is it. Like I said, this is very easy, very straightforward for this front part, and it's the same thing I did for this front. I'm going to repeat at the back before I now move on to shaping the butt and putting space, ease for sitting down and other extras. So I'm going to come to this back pattern as well, and I'll just mark my 2.5 inch here. And remember that after marking 2.5 inches here, I added 1/2 inch. So 2.5 plus half is 3 inches. So I just go and mark the 3 inches straight up here. Okay. And then I'll connect. Like I said, don't start directly from the hip line so that the hip area will not be looking too sharp. So just come down a bit and then draw your line. And then I'll connect this straight to the waist. to the skirt length, sorry. So you guys, this is it. I really hope that this is very visible for you guys to see. I'm also going to come and take in my darts here. So this is the center back. Let me label this. This is the center back. This area is the center back. What I'm going to do is also take in my dart for this side, which is for, first of all, mark my bust span, and then I'll draw a straight line. Then I'll go ahead and take in my dart, just like I did for the front, of 0.75 inch, and connect this straight to the hip line. So when I'm taking in my dart on my fabric, this is the technique that I'm going to follow. So with this now, I'm done with how to draft a basic skirt pattern. This one is this pencil skirt. So this is the pencil skirt pattern. If it's just a simple straight skirt, this is what you will follow. But if you want to shape in it, you have to take this in. So this is the back, this is the front. They are identical right now. Okay, they're identical. So now for the butt shaping, let's move on to the butt shaping. The front part of the skirt is completely done with. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the front skirt. Mind you, there's no seam allowance at all. Even my hemming allowance is not there. My side seam allowance is not there. My zip allowance is not there. So this is just the actual measurement. When I want to cut on my fabric, I will then add the allowance. So keep that in mind. So now we can focus on the back pattern. To do this butt shaping, you can go ahead and use take your under butt measurement. The under butt is taken from the half length to where the butt curve stops. Okay, and then it is from there that you will shaping the skirts. So what I have here is 15, the under butt that I'm working with. So first part that you need to make adjustments is at the waist. So this is first of all to shaping the butt, and secondly to prevent zip bug. So from this waist, I'm going to come and mark half of an inch. This half of an inch, it has to be replaced. If not, you're going to be cutting off from the waist measurement to the tune of 1 inch in total by the time you open it up. So I'm going to be adding that back first, so that the waist measurement will still be correct. Then I will come and connect this to the hip line. This is going to end up being cut off. So this will be cut off, and this is the new waist line, waist and hip line. So guys, the next part is to come here and mark 1 inch. Mind you, you can actually decide to take less here and then take more here. That's depending on your preference. So I'm going to then connect this 1 inch to meet that under butt mark. Okay, you can also do it to meet the hips, but I find that will just like kind of cancel out the whole butt shaping process, but the whole idea of shaping the butt area. So I'm just going to connect it like this instead, and this will be cut off. So guys, this is everything on how to shape in the butt. This basically just taking out from here and here to give that illusion of, you know, the butt shape. So the final thing to do is to create space for this area. And the main reason for doing this, because we have, you know, I have shaped this skirt very well. And you notice that sometimes when you make a straight skirt, it's like as if the skirt is too tight, so like you can't sit down with the skirt properly. You can't, like, it just doesn't feel like it's your size. You feel like the skirt is too big for yourself or say for your client. So in order to correct that, to make sure that there's always space, this is what you're going to do. I'm going to flip this pattern over. Okay, so this is it. Still the same pattern, just flipped the other way around. You are going to come to your hip and slash this open. After slashing this open, you are going to create space. So this is your butt ease. And then you grab another piece of paper and place this under. So you can use between 1 inch and 1.5 inch or 2 inches, depending on how big the butt is. But don't go more than 2 inches. I personally think 2 inches is more than enough. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be using 1 inch. So I'm going to mark 1 inch. You see that this is going to make a big difference in the fitting of your skirt. Even though it's just like 1 inch you're adding, it is going to make a lot of difference by the time you are done. So I'll go ahead and use my tape to hold it down. With this now, I've created ease for the butt area, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the excess paper. And then for this part, I'll just okay. So guys, this is everything. All of this part is not parts of the skirt pattern. It's going to be cut off. This is also going to be cut off, but I won't be cutting this side off. I'm going to leave this place the way it is and cut it and just take it out on my main fabric. And then this is the front one here. All of this is going to be taken out, as well as the darts. So you guys, I'm sorry I didn't get this part on video. I actually thought that this was recording, but it stopped recording. But I've gone ahead to cut everything out, and I decided to add my seam allowance. So while I was cutting this part, I made sure to fold in this place before I cut. So now when I open it up, the seam allowance in this place will rhyme, because most of the time you always have to turn the fabric with the lining, and then you have to cut off some parts of the lining so that the main fabric will be showing on the inside of the skirt by like half of an inch or 1 inch, depending on how much you cut off from the lining. I had to fold this place in, I folded it in, then I went ahead to cut both sides, so that after opening it up, this place won't be slim. Because if I decide to add the seam allowance and then just continue straight, following what I have, following the line that is here, you will see that this part will end up being cut off. And then when you try and turn the lining with the fabric, you will notice a shortage. Can you see? So this now in total amounts to 1/2 of an inch. So I have to fold this part in, fold the paper in, and then cut on both sides. And then I did the same thing here as well. I also tried to illustrate what was going on here, but I didn't even know that the video, it wasn't on video. So if I had gone straight, this would have been cut off. So I had to fold this part in and then cut. So guys, that's it for this tutorial. So sorry about the chicken noise that was going on throughout this video. I hope you guys found this video very helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.